I'm Dan Antonelli from Kick Charge Creative. Welcome to another episode of Branded or Blanded. Today we're going to be talking about the rebranding we completed for Jay's HVAC Unlimited, which is based out in North Carolina and Virginia. My friend Jamie Vaughan owns that company. Jamie and I met a couple of years ago at Victor Rancor's event in Vegas. We spoke a little bit about his branding and some of the challenges that I saw with it. He says that I told him it was awful. I don't know if that's really true or not. Regardless, I'll let you guys be the judge as to whether or not I was speaking the truth at that point. So let's get into it and talk about what we did here and talk about the different categories. So naming, right? So this is one of the things that we talk about a lot, right? Does the name really help the consumer understand what it is that this company does? So there's a couple of challenges here right off the bat in how this is done. So one of the first challenges we have is that the use of HVAC in the naming, which is typically not a good idea if you are residentially based, mainly because the consumer does not know really what you deliver. It's a technical term. It's not necessarily a consumer friendly term. So that's one area that we sought to change when we talked to him about a rebranding. Second part of it here, we have the initial base branding, which is another thing that we're typically not fans of. So Jay's by itself, sometimes challenging to remember. And one of the solutions you'll see later on is how we tried to fix that while leveraging the equity that we still had in Jay's. Next problem we have is Unlimited. It really doesn't add a significant amount of value, and we still haven't reached a point of actually explaining to the consumer what it is that we provide. So this would be something to on the rebrand and the renaming that we addressed. And then, of course, the use of LLC, which is something you should never have in your logo. And if your lawyer told you that, you should find yourself a new lawyer. So looking at naming, it's not good here, right? It's not good. So I'm getting a pretty low number for that. Now, memorability. So you could look at this truck wrap, and in fact, Jamie would say that this truck wrap was often, he was told quite often, I should say, that, hey, I saw your truck wrap. I saw your truck wrap. I saw your truck wrap. And I get it. Like, I totally agree that I would probably remember having seen this truck wrap. Now, the question is do I know what it is by looking at them, or can I remember or read and be able to discern what it is that they do at a glance? So I could probably figure out that they do heating and air conditioning, of course, right? Because they got the fire, we got the ice. Okay, so it's something with heating and cooling. Like, I get that, right? And even looking at the red and the blue arrows here, part of the actual logo, I can get the sense of that it is something with maybe heating and air conditioning, right? But is it something that I'm going to remember as far as even the uniqueness of this particular logo? Forget the truck wrap for a second and just look at the logo by itself. Probably not, right? So that scored pretty low on a 3. Brand colors, and you know me, you know I'm not a fan of red, white, and blue. Generally speaking, it's a very, very challenging color scheme to own. So I don't like the idea that he's red, white, and blue here, because it's in his competitive market. There were a lot of other companies that were also red, white, and blue. So I'm going to give that a 2. Logo lockup, again, just talking about that. Will it be something memorable? How many other companies are using sun and snowflakes or the red and blue arrows in their lockup? So not something we're super stoked with seeing. And then the vehicle wrap is another whole issue, right? So again, being seen, yes, it's memorable in the sense that it's different and there's a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, I can. It's whatever it is. I don't know how exactly to describe it, right? But you can see it and you might remember it. The problem is right here, right? So here's the biggest problem. I can't read this. Okay, so I may note that I see this truck, and this truck is by itself perhaps disruptive in a sense that it's something different, and it's not a white truck, right? Which would be terrible, right? If it was a white truck, but I can't really figure out who it's actually for. So from that perspective, what point is it serving, right? So we're only delivering maybe the idea that you do heating and cooling. So we've addressed the what, we've actually then forgotten about the who, right? And the who is really more important in a sense that if I don't know who it is that I've seen with this truck and what this truck represents, then I can't actually reach out and call them. So you have that issue. You have licensed and insured, which is another thing we would not want to put on a truck wrap. And we say, well, why wouldn't you put licensed and insured? Well, to me, as a homeowner, it should be painfully obvious that you should be licensed and insured. I'm not going to specifically be calling Jay's HVAC Unlimited because he's licensed and insured, because that's not something unique to him. That's something that every contractor should have, so I'm not going to advertise it, right? So you have that. You have Twitter logos here and Facebook logos here. Those things definitely shouldn't be on a truck wrap. Residential and commercial, those are also terms that we typically do not want to see on a truck wrap. If you're saying you do residential and commercial, that means you're saying that you actually work for everyone. So at that point, really, what's the point? So again, something that doesn't work very well in delivering who it is that we're actually represented by this truck wrap. So total score here, and it's a pretty low score of 9. And I want to talk about how we really try to address this and how we try to solve some of these challenges. Okay, so here's the redesign. So what do we do with the naming, right? So in order to try to solve the problem with Jay's, my thought was, well, how can I at least connect Jay's with a visual? So I had it in my mind very early in talking with Jamie, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we utilized a blue jay of some sort, a visual that would connect the idea of Jay's with the name of the company? So that's always something that you want to try to do, and those are typically things that make a brand more sticky. So if I can get this word Jay's, right, to be sticky in your mind and to help make it more sticky, I'm going to relate it back to the visual. So every time I see that blue jay, now I'm thinking Jay's, right? So that's how you really try to build on the name, and you try to build a brand that is more sticky in someone's mind, especially in the consumer's minds, right? So fixing the naming was one thing that I think we did really well with. We also got rid of the HVAC Unlimited, and we simply went with the clarifies. Super important to deliver what you do as succinctly as possible, right? You see a lot of people, I posted about this on Facebook the other day about using the term home services. Like, home services clarifies nothing, right? So in this instance, it wouldn't make sense to say Jay's Home Services, because now I still haven't explained anything at all about what Jay's does, and I'm going to need to put heating, air, plumbing somewhere else on the truck, right? So just think about that as you're thinking about naming with your company. You want to deliver that as succinctly as possible. Now, again, is it more memorable? Yeah, I think this is a really, really memorable wrap design. It's a memorable brand now. I've got the idea of the visual connecting with the name, which makes it more sticky. So absolutely, I think we did really good with that. And then brand colors, right? So we talked about the red, white, and blue, right? And I wanted to move away from the red, white, and blue. And what did I do? So I replaced it with the red, white, and blue. I introduced the idea of orange into that color palette and a little bit of yellow. And I think when you look at this middle part here, right, and the whole wrap is designed to be focally centered on that center, right where that mark is, right, because I want the eye going towards there, and then of course it's going to lead you back towards the name. So introducing some light yellow, and then yellow fading into the orange, and a little bit of that really dark orange color, and it kind of creates a sense of movement, and it also creates a focal point. So I like what we did with the brand colors, because in his market too, these brand colors were not represented. So I think that they really stand out in that space. Okay, so the logo lockup as well. Really like what we did on there. This to me doesn't get any better, because I've got a name that you close your eyes, you can almost imagine maybe what the visual might be. And the lockup is very succinct. It fits very well. It's very well balanced. Okay. And then the wrap design, I think we did really well with that. We also introduced this tagline, right? We take home comfort to new heights. Again, reinforcing why I have a bird in the first place, in addition to, of course, having a bird because it relates back to Jay's and the name Jay's. But now you're introducing another aspect of what makes Jay's unique by that tagline. We take home comfort to new heights. So total score here on this one is 46. That's a pretty big, a pretty radical change. We can just go back here and we look at where we came from, and then where we arrived here. And I know Jamie's, he's about 6 months into the rebrand. It's really helped change his company, really helped propel him, I think, towards new heights. There's my pun of the day. And I know he's doing really well. So listen, that's it for today. Thanks again for watching. And if you guys have any trucks or brands that you have yourself that you would like to have us critique, just hit us up and we'll see if we can get it featured on here. Thanks so much. Take care.